Hello, guys, and welcome to week 4 of our Class HS2305 Ethics in the Medical Profession here at Ultimate Medical Academy. This is an interesting week. This is an interesting week this week, guys, as we are covering chapters 9 and 10 in our textbook. Chapter 9 is dealing with professional liability insurance. So we've talked about professional liability again in weeks 3 and 2. But we've talked about the issues of professional liability, about what kind of things could cause you to run afoul of your professional liability standards, such as acts you're committing or negligence standards. So things that could get us into trouble and make us liable for the actions. And we saw the week we're working on right now still with our week 3 discussion board and the issue involving Mary and the boyfriend finding the information about her. In chapter 9, we're moving more into the insurance itself. So it could be a little bit tricky of a chapter, guys, as you read it. So make sure you take your time to read it because we're looking at different things that a policy would cover. We're looking about what the employer is going to cover for themselves. We're looking about what they might cover for you. And that is a very interesting topic. Make sure you truly understand sometimes what your employer's policy is going to cover. Because sometimes they're really looking, when they write these policies, about covering themselves more so than the actual employees themselves. So what I mean by that is what employers do when they draft their liability policy insurances, they're looking at covering the facility and they're looking at covering their liability, the facility's liability if a negligent act or an intentional tort is committed. Sometimes that might cover you individually, sometimes that might not cover you individually. So as you read this chapter, guys, it's very interesting. Pay some close attention to what's included in a policy and what's not included in a policy. If you guys think of questions when you're reading that chapter, remember, give me a text or email me or whatever, and I'll respond to you guys as quickly as possible because it's a very difficult but a very interesting chapter when we're looking at the different parts of a professional liability policy. Now, chapter 10 is dealing with end-of-life issues. We're going to get into things like advance directives, which we mean by that it's a living will, and what happens when a patient has a living will, and what happens when a patient doesn't have a living will. So we want to look at those kind of things as well, too, in terms of when somebody has an advance directive. We're going to look at things like DNR, do not resuscitate. So we're going to be looking, guys, at those end-of-life issues and when patients specifically clarify what they want in their end-of-life care and the end-of-life decisions being made as they enter their final days and final moments. So it's a very interesting legal type questions that goes on in Chapter 10 when we examine what the patient's wishes are and how they want those wishes to be carried out. I always say it's interesting in this chapter because you always see on television with the doctor shows of there's DNRs in place, there's living wills in place, and the doctors go ahead and save them anyway because they're being the hero. I mean, you really can't do that when you read this chapter and you understand fully. We are to follow the patient's wishes. We are to follow the letter of the document. What that living will says, what that DNR says, what those various documents say, that is going to be the directive for those end-of-life decisions. So we must be cognizant and very well aware of what's going to happen. Interesting discussion board this week, guys, as we are looking at an advance directive and whether or not a patient should actually fill out an advance directive and what the impact of filling out an advance directive is going to be for the patient and for that patient's family. So it's going to be a very interesting discussion board. Remember, guys, as always, get your initial posts in by Wednesday at the end of the day, 2 reply postings in by Sunday at the end of the day. Again, we have a worksheet this week, so please make sure to work on your assignment. Also, we have the different modules are available too, and we have our test. Also, remember here too, guys, that we are having some extra credits come up every single week. I've seen a lot of good people doing these extra credit assignments. These are a great way, guys, to get some makeup points and get some additional points. So start thinking about doing some of these extra credits as we get near the end of class. We have just this week and next week left. So again, guys, have a great week. I'll be here, of course, you guys know, by either text, email, or any way you want to get in contact with me. I'm available with the office hours. The office hours are on Sundays, 10 to 11 p.m. Eastern Time, and Tuesdays, 10 to 11 p.m. Eastern Time. But you can always get me anytime by email. So guys, have a great week. It's a very interesting week of topics again. Like I said, anything you need to know, just give me a call or text or message, and we'll talk about it. And have a great week, guys.